All right, Joey, thank you for being on the podcast today. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
So we met about a year ago here on Sanibel Island inside your custard shop, which is called Joey's Custard. And the more we've spoken and the more time we spent with my family, I've come to find out you have an amazing testimony. And I kind of just want to open it up to you to kind of start off however you want. But go ahead and introduce yourself to my audience real quick.
So I'm Joey ALMEIDA. I was originally born in Buffalo, New York, but raised here on Sanibel Island. It's a little getaway island for a lot of families like yourselves. And yeah, more or less, you guys came in and immediately picked up on that these are my kind of people. You know, you guys joking, laughing, but I remember you specifically, it was like 2 minutes after being in the store, asked me how did this come to be. You were immediately curious about how, at the time, I believe I was 25, how did I come to own an ice cream shop on a resort, destination island, and we started talking right away. And then, it's been a little over a year, kind of keeping up with one another, and it's been nothing but a pleasure getting to know you guys and sit down and hang out and get to know your family and everything.
Sweet. So we're the same age, right? But you've been all over the world, and yet you've ended up with an ice cream shop on an island. You've grown up on an island. How does somebody come to own an ice cream shop at your age?
So, not to make a long story short, but I'm going to do my best to make a long story short. I grew up here, like most kids, after getting done with school, ready to move on to the next thing and get outside of, what home would be, and thought the bigger world out there was the place for me. So went to college, right out of high school like most kids do. Found that I didn't like it very much, wasn't working for me, so I dropped out, joined the Army. So like you said, I got to travel, lived in Oklahoma for a little under a year. Got stationed in South Korea for 2 years, came back, lived in Texas, and then once getting out of the military, moved back to my original home in Buffalo, New York, and it was about May of 2015 when it was snowing, late May, that I called my mom and I was like, I can't do this anymore, I gotta move back home. And was kind of looking for every reason to move back here. It was a real life-defining God moment for me where I was standing on my dad's grave. I was having a conversation with him and with, at the time, my God. And what I defined him as, and I was saying I'm ready for the next thing in my life, ready for the next chapter. And at that same time, my mother was leaving me a voicemail here about this ice cream shop that was for sale on Sanibel. Now, literal life experience, I had no experience running a business, none at all. But growing up in small restaurants, my family owned 3 different Italian restaurants growing up. I thought I had what it took. My mom thought I had what it took. So I flew home, bought the business within a period of days, no real hesitations on any of the party side. And this is the funny part. I flew back to New York to put in my 2 weeks at my 2 jobs up there because I believe in doing the next right thing.
Right.
But so that's the short, long story of, having an ice cream shop on an island where I grew up. It was common sense math for me, hot island, cold ice cream. I grew up in this market. Everybody from the bank tellers to the grocery store clerks to anybody who is on the island knows me, knows my family, and we really just wanted to give it a chance. That's more or less how it came to be.
So it sounds like your relationship with God started right when the ice cream shop kind of happened.
Yeah.
What was your life like before that, and what would you say brought you to God?
Being raised in an Irish Catholic family, I was baptized, First Communion, Confirmation Catholic. Followed all the rules, did all the little things right. nothing against anybody or anything in the Catholic Church, but just slowly started to grow apart in my teenage years. Ended up at a non-denominational church about my sophomore, junior year of high school. Went on mission trips, did the youth groups, but still, again, felt distance. And a lot of it had to do with the passing of my father. He passed when I was 7 years old, so I always had this hole inside of me that I tried to fill with people or things or whatever was the next thing coming up in life. Kind of really took all of my focus and my attention. So late in high school, just really partying a lot, really kind of separating. I always say it's like scratching the scab. Like I was building that scab up. Every time I would make a mistake and fall short of the relationship I had with God, it would harden over. And then I'd peel it back off again, and then it would harden over. And the scab just continued to grow. Leaving for the Army was really a jumping off point for me. Even before then, going to college. At this point, stopped going to church, stopped communicating with anyone. And like most people, I started to find my version of what God was. God took my father from me. God took our house from us when we were in foreclosure. God separated my family into different pieces. My mom and stepfather divorced. The restaurants that we had grown up in were taken from us. And I just really attributed all these things to God not loving me and caring for my family. So as I continued on in the Army, really started to drink heavily, really started to enjoy the secular side of life. And it's funny, at church this past Sunday, the pastor talked about living a life of sin and bringing others to sin with you becomes a way of living. And that's really the embodiment of who I was. I've always been told I was a natural born leader. I've always been told I was gifted with communicating with others, and I took those spiritual gifts and I used them against God. I brought a lot of people to the dark side. But as part of my journey and getting out of the military, really was just in a deep, dark place. One of the stories I like to tell, I think is another God point in my life, was when I was getting out, I was signing my paperwork to where to send my household goods, all of my stuff. And I wrote Buffalo, New York. And I really couldn't and didn't understand why I did that. Even my mom was like, I thought you were going to move back to Florida. Why was your stuff going to New York? I said, I think I need to go home. I think I need to go see where you and Dad met and see the aunts and uncles. So,
and your dad's grave is there
in Buffalo, New York, exactly. So for me, it was a really a stretch, but I knew what I was doing. I was kind of running from problems and fears. By this point, devil and Satan are fully warping the way that I see the world. So I moved up to Buffalo, New York with nothing. I lived in an RV in my aunt's driveway for 8 weeks. Eventually she kicked me out. I lived in a not so good part of town, paying $500 a month rent to sublet a unit with no water heater. I was living pretty roughly. All of my finances were dictated towards nightlife, towards partying, towards drugs and alcohol. I worked overnight janitor jobs. I bartended, anything I could do to just stay in the party culture. And really a big turning point for me was, now when my father passed, he was 12 years sober. I knew my dad as a man who had self-control. He had a very, very strong spiritual and godly relationship between the way he interacted with my mother, the way he even took his impending death in stride, never questioned it. He didn't fight it. It was pancreatic cancer, and it had really just riddled through his whole body. That's what they attributed it to, but he had full body cancer. He had built bombs back in Vietnam, and they didn't have the science to...
That was before they understood radiation and all that.
Precisely. These guys, they... and a lot of them had pride, and they didn't want to go to the doctor and say that they were sick. And that was really a case of my father. By the time he went to the doctors here in South Florida, he was too far gone. But he never fought it. So I saw what it meant to be founded in faith, to live a life of spiritual principles. He always talked about the 4 spiritual principles of life: delaying gratification, seeking truth, accepting responsibility, and balance. And those were monikers that he lived by. So as that happened and I got to see him, I was always infatuated. I almost kind of like idolized my dad. He was my God.
Right.
So because I didn't have God, he took that place. And he had a book, it's called The Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous.
Yeah.
And on the inside of the cover, he had his work address and he had his home address. And his work address was a half mile from where my work was in Buffalo at the time.
Oh, wow.
And his home address was a quarter mile from where I lived in Buffalo at the time. So it was God kind of sending me a nudge, I think, you can be like him.
Right.
And I had a cousin who at the time had been sober a little while, and she asked me, why don't you come to a meeting with me on a Friday night? And I resisted for a long time. I even went to my first meeting drunk.
Yeah.
I had so much fear, I was riddled with fear. But got into that meeting and really, through the testimony of another man and through getting to know some people, really made the decision, this is it.
Yeah.
I went home that night. It was snowing in New York. It was the middle of March 2015. I fell on my knees and I threw up a prayer to God. At the time, I had no idea what I was doing or even who I was talking to. But I believed what I was saying, and I felt convicted. I felt, this is it. From this day forward, my life forever will not be the same. And I put that ultimate belief not only in myself, but in just something that wasn't me, in a God. Like I said, I had no idea what that God was yet. I hadn't been, baptized again. I hadn't been born again. I hadn't even looked into the Word of God. But that night, went in my room, read that big book, open and close.
Yeah.
Got to see where my dad had highlighted things and written in, the side of the pages and on the bottom. It really felt like, his brain was my brain. We struggled with the same things. I was definitely a product of my father.
Yeah.
So I felt that connection to him. I didn't feel hopeless for the first time in a long time. I felt like I had some form of control in my life. Mm-hmm. And I managed to stay on somewhat solid ground for a little while. And then leading up to, like I said before, standing on his grave in May 2015, or 2016, excuse me, and understanding this is it. My life is going to change forever. Coming into owning the ice cream shop, moving home. My journey really started within a year of owning the business. Continued to develop that relationship with God. Just anytime I had free, I was reading the Bible. I was trying to start conversations with people. And feel out, where I stood in all of this. And by June 2017, was baptized again. Was led back to faith at a church here in Fort Myers, not here on the island, not the one I grew up in or went on mission trips with, because I still had that fear of going back to what I knew. I had that fear of walking in church with my head down and being judged. All these things that society tells us is important. I still had those, but I did go, I did get baptized, I was following along, and then really I just got convicted. I had a family very similar to yours, who've been coming into the store regularly. I really looked up to the father and the mother of this family. They had 9 kids. They lived, breathed, and just were what I wanted to become. They were spiritual, they were founded in faith. Problems arose in the family. They prayed about it, they waited, they got answers, and they moved forward. And it was not until the father asked me, why don't you come back to St. Louis Community Church, right here on this couch actually. He was sitting right behind me, sitting in this chair to the left of me. And he grabbed my arm. He didn't even really ask. And that's how I know these, we call these moments God moments in our lives, but God was speaking through it. God was saying, come home. Come back to where you can have the greatest impact on your community. And step back in church then and there. And, it's not about attendance. It's not about being perfect, but, pretty much every week since then I've been in that building. Been working with the youth groups, on staff here. You guys came in the other night. I have 12 kids, half of them are in the youth group here, half are not.
Yeah, all of your employees are kids.
Yeah, literally kids. It didn't start that way, but this past year, God really put it heavy on my heart to have the greatest impact is to bring in the younger generation, to turn around and to teach them. And so I've been hiring, 15 and 16-year-olds. We have no 18-year-olds on staff. I'm the only real adult here. And it's been nothing short of a blessing, they teach me as much as I teach them.
Yeah.
Because they see problems arise in their lives and they're able to look at them differently than what me, through my experience, tends to look at things.
Yeah.
So long way, trailing back to the original question, my spiritual walk, my walk with God, started hand in hand really with this business being started. Because I knew and felt convicted that if I am to make this work, a power greater than myself is going to be the reason that it happens, not because of me. So you guys came in this morning and you got to see, how I kind of open up the shop and get things rolling. But I say the same thing, almost a mantra that I live by. When I put the key in the door every morning, I take a minute, I pause, look up, and I say, this is yours, not mine. I truly, truly believe that as a business, we are here and we are doing well because this is God's plan for me and for those young kids who come into work here and my mother. This is His plan for all of us. And it takes the pressure off. One of you guys asked me, do I truly love doing this? I do. I really genuinely love what I do. Not because of one scoop or two ice cream.
Right.
Not because how many toppings people want. It's because of the people. It's because of stories like you guys walking in my shop. And just by being in the business for a couple of minutes, are able to go, this place is a little bit different than everywhere else I've been on the island. This place is a little bit more different than other places I've been on vacation. And that's through prayer, through dedication, every day getting on my hands and knees at some point in here and just asking for help, for guidance, being truly reliant on God. And I'm sure you picked up on it the other day when you came in. We're now playing worship music in here. It's a conviction God laid heavily on my heart a few months back. I would praise and worship before I opened, and I would praise and worship when we closed every day. And one day God just said to me, enough's enough. Play me instead, because if somebody's listening to, and I hate to bash any secular music, but let's just say somebody's listening to something in the top 100 Billboard charts, and they don't prefer to hear it, they're still going to come and be in your business anyways. They're not going to walk out the door. So God said to me, play me, because if they have an issue with it, at the very least they're going to stand and listen. And maybe it'll change a little bit, and it's happened for me many times.
Maybe it'll get them to ask a question or make a comment of some kind, open up a conversation.
And I think we talked about this, but 7 in 10 Americans identify themselves as Christians, but about half that, even less. Quotation Christians. About half that or even less are born again, living in their faith. Fully immersed in what it means to be, a follower of Christ, someone who has a developed relationship with Christ. And so I've seen it. I've seen it happen where people, through standing in the store, they go, this is Christian worship music playing. I go, yes, it absolutely is. And that conversation just takes off from there. And where it goes long term, I don't know. But I know how it goes with families like yourselves, and families like mine. When we go out and I hear Christian music playing at a Chick-fil-A, at a Hobby Lobby, wherever I may be, it means a lot to me. It means somebody's standing up for what they believe in. I think it's really cool that you're wearing a shirt this morning, but
literally, you can see it on the video here. If you watch us on YouTube, we've all got Joey's Custard attire and everything on, just because we love supporting you.
Thank you. And the motto on that shirt comes directly from the gospel. It is about the principles of Jesus Christ. Now, it's hard to put on a shirt everything that Jesus did, but Jesus inspired nobly. Jesus encouraged harmony. Jesus served harmony. And when we opened 3 years ago as a business, my mom and I, we came up with that motto for a little over 3 years, it just sat on our wall. That was it. It was on our website and on our wall, nowhere else. And another, through the power of prayer, God just said to me, take that Joey's off the front of the shirt and replace it with what you think is a representation of me.
Yeah.
And it's been amazing. The first 250 shirts I ordered, I just gave out. I didn't even charge. I gave them to friends, to family, to people I believe that live these principles. Not even all of them are Christians, just people who believed in those, 6 words, those 3 statements.
Yeah.
And since putting them on the shelves to be sold, we can't keep them in the shop. I just put in an order a few weeks ago. They're already sold out. I just put in another one a few days ago. It's because people want to wear stuff that they feel represents them, or it's something they want to represent, something they want to become.
Yeah.
And I've had women approach me in grocery stores, tears in their eyes, just asking for a hug because they read the shirt. I've had people stop me at the gas station and just say, I really appreciate that shirt. And I just say, thank you, more or less, because that's not why I'm doing it. But if that, just like the worship music playing here in the store, if that little statement can take somebody's day from where they were headed, maybe down a negative path or a day of pessimism, and spin it into an optimistic day, to a day with a good outlook, that's really what we're all seeking. We're seeking to make the world a better place, one day at a time, one moment at a time. I know I'm kind of rambling right now.
No, you're good. Like, it's clear to see that, as successful as your business is and the way that you run it and everything, anybody that sits down and talks to you for 5 minutes knows that you're living literally beyond this world. And you know what's important. That people are important. Their souls are important. And it doesn't matter how many ice cream cones you're selling a day. It's literally how you're impacting those people, and that transfers beyond business or property or homes or anything in this world. Because this is a vacation spot for my family. But the first time we came in here, my grandfather was like, "Yeah, we're coming in here from now on." Like we used to go to Pinocchio's and we're this is it now.
No questions asked.
Because it's just, I call it being a high caliber person. You're just operating on a level that isn't trying to just get things done or get through the day.
Yeah.
And I think I was talking to Alex about this. There's something about, I think, when you have this almost rock bottom point in your life where you are, it sucks, but you're stripped of everything that you're trying to tie yourself to in this world. And then when you finally gain that vision of what's important, you're looking at the world through heaven's eyes, all of a sudden you become just this person that is just operating on a different frequency.
Yeah.
And that's so easy to see about you.
Yeah.
But I was gonna ask you, do you think that you needed all of your low points, or you needed to be at that rock bottom for you to get where you are now?
Without a doubt. There's so many scriptures that I think of as you're saying what you're saying. But really one I've always clung to is James, verses 1 through 12, the first book of James. It talks about our trials and tribulations, producing endurance, so that we can continue on the path.
Yeah.
And it's like working out for Alex. It's music for others. It's doing this podcast for you.
Yeah.
It's like schoolwork for some people. Without putting in the work, without sacrifice, there is no return on investment. For me as a businessman, that's why I like to think of it.
Yeah.
And so, being drugged through the mud, and this is the other thing. Finally, that switch in my mind happened where it was no longer God I was blaming. I was making those choices.
Yeah.
I walked happily down the road with the demon. I walked into pain and suffering myself.
Yeah.
Free will is a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Free will can be the worst detriment to us,
Yeah.
and it can be our greatest blessing. And had I not gone through what I've gone through, and I said this off camera, but there's just certain things that I don't even like to still bring back up because God's taken them away from me.
Yeah.
It got really dark.
Yeah.
And as the great Christopher Nolan said in Batman, the night is always darkest before the dawn.
Right.
And I keep that in my memory, but certain things I've just chosen to try and forget and let go of because there is no point in holding on to that. But yes, the overall experience had to happen in order for me to be here. To be able to not judge others or to have an understanding or an empathetic part with someone for what they're currently doing comes from a place where I get it. I know where you are. I can see your pain. And that's, that there are some people who learn through reading or being told.
Yeah.
I 1000% of the person has to learn through experience.
Right.
Even now in business.
Yeah.
Don't go into business with your best friend. Check, did it, failed.
Yeah.
Had to learn that the hard way. Don't go into business with family. My mom and I have never been closer because year 1 and year 2 had almost a power struggle going on. Is this your vision? Is it my vision? Is this yours? Is this mine?
Yeah.
And finally, through prayer and through God, I was able to sit down last year and say to her, I need autonomy to make mistakes.
Yeah.
My mom, like most great mothers, wants to make everything easy for me, wants to help me avoid mistakes and not make them. But you need them. We need them.
Absolutely.
And so, gave me that space, gave me that ability to operate independently. It's God gives us that free will. And a great pastor that I like to, someone that I look up to a lot is Kyle Jackson. He was the pastor that baptized me. He was the pastor that, it was like God put him in that church for me. And I know that sounds selfish, but when I was sitting there, that's how convicted I was. I was like, wow, the power of God to know that here I sit and here he stands, he's preaching to me. Right. He had gone through the same thing, 7 years out in the dark. Walked away from God, drugs, alcohol, women, completely surrounded by sin. And there he was within a matter of, I think it had been 10 years, or 9, I think it was one of the Sundays, he was sharing his testimony with us. And he wasn't pretending to be perfect. He could have, like a lot of other pastors, not told that side of the story, but he did. And it literally, I told my girlfriend at the time, it reached out to me. Didn't touch my heart, it grabbed my heart, it pulled me in, literally. And he says, our greatest pain becomes our platform to teach and to interact with others. And your family, other families who come into business, the one thing they always say, and it's not a tribute to me, it's an attribute to God because I rely on him. They say I'm consistent. They say they know what they can expect when they see me. And that's because of God. He gives me that because of where I'm from. Sometimes we don't go through things and people aren't able to speak your language, if that makes sense. Because of where I've been, I speak many languages. I don't speak all of them, I myself was never addicted to heroin. I never touched needles. So it'd be hard for me to minister to somebody who's in that arena. But a lot of the other arenas, I can step in confidently, look somebody in their face and say, I've been where you've been. Follow me. Come with me. And I've talked with a lot of pastors who say to me that I don't even realize the level of my blessings. It's hard to look at them as blessings at the time, but what I went through and where it's going to take me in my faith. And it's already started. Working with 15, 16, 17-year-old kids, watching their free will take over in their life. And it's a rush. We're both, we just came out of our early 20s. It's a rush to have free will. To know I can do exactly as I please. It's as dangerous as any drug out there. I can choose to stay up till 4 in the morning and be not productive at work the next day. Whatever it is. Had I not been where I've been, I wouldn't have the perspective. And like I said, I speak many languages, I feel.
Yeah.
I feel like the languages of the heart that God has taught me to understand all come directly from where I've been.
Yeah. I think anybody that gets a chance to look at you too might see somebody who is walking in pure freedom, which is definitely seems to be the case, but that doesn't go without its challenges. What would you say for your life today are some of the greatest challenges that you regularly deal with? What are some thorns?
A lot of thorns. We just talked about 2 Corinthians this morning. A lot of the time, and this is, Jesus was the embodiment of this, that when you so choose as a person to be baptized, again, in his love, and understand he was the perfect blood sacrifice.
Yeah.
You too are making the decision to be like Christ.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest struggles I have, and I talk about this often with people because I like to remain real with them, is I struggle with upholding the standard.
Yeah.
I struggle with, I gotta wake up every day, do my devotionals, take a run, meditate, whatever it is that I do that morning, show up and clock in at my shop, and then I have to be the person that everybody needs me to be.
Yeah.
And it was actually a long time of suffering trying to live up to that standard before somebody stopped me, a man that I really look up to, and he said, "Well, you don't. Jesus was the perfect blood sacrifice.
Yeah.
You're not the one that has to hold the standard. He is.
Yeah.
So just take a breath, relax. You're allowed to be imperfect." So really that was one of the ones, and still I'm human, so it creeps back in every once in a while where I feel like this is too much. I have 12 young kids looking up to me, but I'm immersed in a community that looks up to me.
Yeah.
I cannot go to the rec center or gas station without running into 5 people that I know. Yeah. It's just, it comes with the territory.
Because there's only 5,000 locals on here.
5,000 locals, we all know each other.
Yeah.
And because I sell ice cream, a lot of people know me. So that fear of letting people down, not being what they perceived me or needed me to be in that moment. But that's really a selfish thing because I'm allowed to be imperfect. I'm allowed to not be equality. Like most young men, and I've talked about this with you guys, God has led me in a direction, has taken me down the path of being single, of being removed from relationships.
Yeah.
To be not my most effective, but to learn to correct the course. Because my dad passed so young, I never truly got the vision of what a good Christian, faith-founded relationship looks like. And through prayer, God has given me multiple families to use as examples. So I'm just kind of learning from them how they interact, but that becomes a lonely endeavor. But I'm not filled through my relationships anymore, and I'm filled through Christ. And one of the beautiful things that's come from that is I've learned that when I do get into a relationship, the person that God is going to bring into my life will rely on Him more than me. And that'll be a different dynamic than I've ever experienced. Yeah. When there is problems, when there is trials and tribulations, they will turn to God instead of turning to me to fix their problem. So the loneliness comes into play, but really my challenges day to day are making sure that I am living principles of Christ, using my spiritual gifts, not letting them sit, not letting them go to waste. We talked about this before we got started, but my employees come to me with their problems, with their struggles in life, and I really try and take them on. And there's certain businesses, business owners that would say that's the wrong thing to do. Yeah. That's not the way I've built. So when they come to me, I take on their problems, I take on their struggles. Yeah. I listen. I try and apply principles of the Bible to my business. So that becomes hard because sometimes you don't know when to give advice, when to sit back, when to let them make their own mistakes, when to let them, learn from the mistakes that are coming their way. as much like a relationship with my mom. I can't soften all their bottoms, like you said.
Yeah.
Me without my bottoms, I'm probably still, convicted by Satan.
Yeah.
And out there doing as I please. So
yeah.
I'm walking that line where I want to laugh with them. I want to teach them what love looks like and all that.
Yeah.
I want to be a good representative of them, but I want them to be able to make their own mistakes. So that becomes one of the harder things in my life is where to step in and where to let go. But really, it's hard to say this, but I live on an island, I work on an island, I'm surrounded by God daily, surrounded by serenity. It's hard to find things to really, to view as challenges because with the perspective I have, everything is a blessing. It's an opportunity. When we face struggles as a business last year, Red Tide.
Yeah. Which just showed up this morning.
I look at it with glee almost because I know here's an opportunity for God to work in my life.
Yeah.
Here's an opportunity to turn it over, to not stress, and to walk into this emboldened by the fact that I have the best guy fighting on my side.
Yeah.
As Michael W. Smith says, he fights all my battles. All of them. Not some of them, not a few of them. He fights all of them. So it's not even like I'm trying to put out this perfect image. It's truly what I believe. I think that's why, when you guys come in and other people come into the business, they feel that. Call it an energy, people call it an aura, whatever it is about the shop. That's truly what it is. It's that the owner in this establishment trusts and relies on God, and you can feel that. As a Christian, you can feel that.
Yeah.
When I go places, I feel it too.
Yeah.
And I felt it with you guys. I remember last year after you guys left, I creeped up on both your guys' social media profiles to follow you guys. The messenger was like, I hope I'm not weirding you out, but like I had to develop this relationship. And I pray to God all the time to bring more Christian men into my life, more Christian women into my life, to help, because God is fighting our battles, but we got to be surrounded by a godly community. We have to have each other. And I feel like now I have more brothers and sisters in Christ having known you guys, developed these relationships. A year ago today, I would have never sat down. I wouldn't have. I wouldn't have trusted your motives. I was still, like I said, cutting ties with those fears that I worked so hard on to develop. And so when you asked me this year, totally different perspective. Totally different perspective. And I'm really grateful that I get some of this out, and hopefully there's a person here, a person there, who hears something that flips a switch for them. Or if they've been on the path, helps them walk more steadfast, with more endurance, with more reliance on God. Because I believe everything that's created here that we sit in and that you guys see when you come to visit us here, none of it is without God. 0%. I would have failed in the first month if I was left up to my own devices. And I like to say this, but we haven't done anything yet. We're still year 3, heading into year 4. God is on the move here. And it just makes me grateful and thankful.
That's awesome. So you're going on year 3 here. Do you have a 5-year plan or a 10-year plan for this?
I don't. And I even was sitting down with a business tycoon of sorts a little over a year ago who, worked on Wall Street and has made $1 billion and all the more power to him if that's what he finds important. And has done well for himself, good for him. But he asked me the same question and was offended at the answer that I had where I told him no. And I gave him the answer, God has that plan for me, so I don't have to worry about it. I just have to follow through. I couldn't have imagined being where I am today 2 years ago. Not a chance. Couldn't have envisioned where I am. So why worry about it? Why plan it out? I have personal goals aside from business goals, because if I do my personal life to the best of my ability, the rest will bear fruit. Right. I have goals with the youth group here on the island. I'm working with the high school kids this fall for the first time, and I'm ecstatic about that. I'm ecstatic about being able to pray over these kids, to be in their lives consistently. I have the personal goal to continue to dive into my Bible so that I have scripture when it's needed in conversation. I have personal goals to develop my relationships with my staff. We've talked about this, but if I bring the best out of them, it brings the best out of my business.
Yeah.
I have the goal of bringing love everywhere I go, being like Jesus Christ, being the hands and feet of Him. I have the goal of discipling, or bringing the gospel into relationships that I have.
Yeah.
That's really it, and it covers all my bases that way. 3 years ago, I was where I was, and 3 years here I am now. 5 years from now, I could be running a mission in Rwanda. I could be in Panama, working as the hands and feet of Jesus. So to me, I want to continue to learn. I want my business to succeed personally, but should a hurricane come, should a travesty happen, it will not shake my faith. So personally, I'd like to see this thing continue to grow. I'd love to see the staff that I have continue to grow. In a perfect world, I would love for somebody to step up and ask to take this thing over a few years from now so that I can go back to school. I'd love to, check that box off in my life. Some people say you don't need school, but I like the idea of sitting down, humbling myself, and learning from another person. Because right now, one of the crosses that I have to bear, as a figure of speech, is I gotta have all the answers here. These kids look to me, my mother looks to me, the community looks to me to have the answers. And sometimes I just want to be a student. I get that at church, I get that in my faith community. So, those are my goals. Really to just let God continue to take this thing where He plans on taking it. And I know all that sounds like, biblical speech and all that, but it's not. It's how I live.
It sounds genuine when you say it.
It is. It's how I live. And one of my staff is pregnant right now, and she's got a baby on the way. And I want to see that little guy, the girl, and watch him grow up here. I got a couple of nieces, I want to watch them grow up. Those are the things I look forward to. I think one of the beautiful things about our generation, and specifically, the people I surround myself with, is I don't tie any of my successes to finances or money or profits. I'm focusing on being a holistic, happy person. So that's my goal, is to continue to grow, and that the business will take care of itself.
Cool.
X's and O's will always be exactly that. I hope to be here years to come for you guys to keep coming and visiting.
This is my favorite ice cream place now. I only get to come here once a year, but Joey, I think anybody that hears your testimony will probably have a very strong inward look at themselves, to see somebody running themselves in such a high caliber way, but also having all of their pride taken away from them, but living in such freedom as you do. I think you've got a really strong testimony. I think you've got a really cool life that just shows the power that God can have in somebody's life. And I think, you're going to go a million places, and you're going to impact a million people. I'm glad that you sat down with me on this.
Good hope so.
The way I like to wrap these up is I like to ask some rapid fire questions. You can answer them however you want, but it's just pretty simple questions. We'll do that, and then we'll wrap it up. What's your favorite movie, or your top 3 favorite movies?
Top 3 favorite movies. Number 1, Tommy Boy, far and away.
Oh man,
Chris Farley, David Spade, absolute classic. One for the ages. Second, Remember the Titans.
Yes.
I love movies based around unity, about people coming together towards a common goal.
I thought for a second you were like, I love movies about racism. I thought you were about to say that.
Sunshine. Remember the Titans, and then I don't really have a third. Whatever's cracking. Lion King's out right now. I haven't seen it. The first one
I think we're gonna try to see that tonight.
one of my favorite movies of all time. So
Yeah.
I'm excited to see how this one goes.
Sweet.
But yeah, pretty simple. I like the cartoons. I really genuinely love cartoon movies.
They're digging up all of those Disney movies and doing live action ones. So.
I saw Jungle Book live in the theaters. Like,
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. Cool. What are your what's your favorite book or your top 3 favorite books?
Easy first one is Wild at Heart, John Etheridge. It's a phenomenal book about, just if you know it, you know it. You know exactly what I'm talking about. If you don't, I'm gonna look into the camera for a second. Read
Right
it.
there.
Read it.
I listened to that book on tape like 3 times.
It is, even when I was in my darkest days, I was still reading that book. And I think that was one of those, it was like a lifeline that God had tied into me.
Just gets your heart beating.
Dude, as a man and as a man who has a dream of becoming a family man,
Yeah.
that book, everything you need to know about the internal struggle, we all have a fight, we all have a war that we have going on inside of us, and once you defeat that, you have freedom.
Yeah.
Like we talked about. Into the Wild is a second one of my favorites.
What do you think of the movie?
The movie kind of ruined the book for me.
Really?
Yeah, it was good. They did the best they could, but in my brain, I was a high school kid at the time reading that book. It encapsulated so much. My imagination went places that I don't think the movie. They did a good job.
Yeah.
They did the job that they thought was sufficient, but that's the thing about books. The beauty of books is we all have our own visuals about what's going on and what it looks like and what the characters look like and all these things. The relationship developed from Chris McCandless and the old man in that movie didn't do justice to the relationship developed in the book.
Yeah.
To me, being a relationship person, much like the relationship I developed with your grandfather, I seek the wisdom of the elders in my life. That's my favorite stuff.
Yeah.
They have a story to tell. They've lived it. Their experience is so solidified that those relationships are my favorite. Into the Wild, hands down. I love that book. I've reread it multiple times throughout my life. And then the third one, not a Christian, but Experiments with Truth by Mahatma Gandhi.
Yeah.
Again, another book I've read 3 or 4 times in my life. Just an absolute testimony to what it means to make the world a better place.
Oh yeah.
And to anchor yourself in truth, in the light. Now, man, it would have been sweet if he was a follower of Christ.
Oh yeah.
Man, it would have been cool to watch him bring millions of people to salvation.
Do
But
you ever just see those people where you're like, you are just missing it. Like you're right there.
we talk about a podcast that we listen to that is living the spiritual principles of Christ and doesn't even realize it.
I'll get a hold of them one day.
Yeah, one day.
I'll get a hold of them.
One day.
Yeah.
But that is what drives us to make the decisions we make, because maybe that's God's plan.
Yeah.
Maybe that is where we get to stand. Maybe that is where we get to go. Those 3 books, I would say, pretty far and away, easy top 3 for me.
Cool. Do you have a favorite song? Do you have a favorite band? And what's your favorite kind of music?
Favorite song, Reckless Love by Corey Asbury. I can't get enough of that song right now 10 times a day. 5 before I open, 5 after I close, it's on repeat.
Nice.
That's just where I am right now. Red Rocks Worship is my favorite group going right now.
Where are they from?
Out in Colorado, Denver, right outside the Red Rocks region. The thing I love about this band, I reached out to them because I went to go check their touring dates. There is none. We don't tour. If you want to come see us, you come to Red Rocks and you worship with us. And I like that. I trust me, I love the Hillsongs of the world. I love the Michael W. Smiths of the world. These are people that have traveled the world and brought happiness to millions and millions of people. They brought a lot of people to Christ. And I've enjoyed shows going and seeing them, but there's something about the group that says, no. We're going to stay steadfast. We're going to stay home with our church, and you can come and see us.
It's because they're watering and nurturing their community.
Yes.
Like just growing it up.
And they've got a few just absolute gems as far as go-to songs for me. Yeah, my favorite, being a army boy, serving in the service, I love me some country.
Nice.
I love me some country. I grew up a real hip-hop fan. I grew up with older brothers. My brothers are 10 years and 7 years older than me.
Yeah.
So the Snoop Dogg's and the Nas and the Tupac and the Biggie was a huge part of my upbringing. And when I can find a clean version, I like to throw it on every once in a while. But that's a chapter in my life that I sometimes leave where it is. So yeah, I kind of really have only been listening to country or worship music over the last year or so.
Cool.
And it helps me stay positive, it helps me stay on track.
Cool.
But yeah, Red Rocks Worship, give them a listen if you haven't. They're smaller, but they got tons of stuff on YouTube and iTunes.
So I'll check it out.
Yeah.
What is your favorite piece of scripture, and what is some of the best advice you've ever received?
Favorite is a tough one right now. This is future you advice.
Yeah.
I've started adapting this. An old guy taught me this, but you say, what is your favorite today?
Yeah.
Because we're always changing, and as we grow. So yeah. Anyways, but I love that he taught me that, because I bring that in everything now. I'll ask my kids on staff, what's your favorite color today? And they're like, why today? I'm like, because next week it could be different.
Yeah.
So like last night I asked a girl who's working for me, is today your color still the same? Favorite one? She said, yes, it is. I said, okay, I'll ask you again in a week.
They probably think that's so weird right now, but then
right. But as you get older, you start to understand. You're like, I get it. My favorite scripture right now is Ephesians. I love me some Ephesians, and the transformation that Ephesians talks about. It's really, I'm not even going to pick a specific verse. Yeah. It's that entire scripture.
Dude, it is on camera, man, because you guys will just have a 2-day long conversation about it. Yeah.
Really?
Oh, it's his favorite.
It covers everything.
Philippians is his favorite book, but then Ephesians is like, he just loses his mind.
It covers everything. And like I said, I want to dive more into the word so that I can be like Ephesians 3:8 and recite to you exactly, because I know I like 3:8.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just remember the feeling I got reading Ephesians. I was in my kayak out in the backwaters in Captiva a few months ago.
Yeah.
I just started sobbing like a child, realizing that my life had been stripped.
Yeah.
My old life is dead. I'm born again in Christ.
Yeah.
I am set free. You know, that statement of fact, we are free indeed. That means never ending. We are never not free. So yeah, I would say Ephesians, and then I referenced it earlier in the podcast. The book of James is just, what a testimony to be the stepbrother or brother-in-law of Christ. To look at him and question, how could this guy be the Messiah? I've known him since we were kids.
Yeah.
To struggle internally like that, and then just write one of the most, especially for a recovering addict, especially for someone who's dealt with real trials and tribulations, what an expansive book. What a book of just testimony. What we're sitting here talking about today, the book of James, is a living, breathing document of testimony.
Yeah.
To bear witness to Jesus Christ, to write it down, and then have that as an example for the rest of us for the rest of the time.
Yeah.
I love the book of James. It's also probably because I taught it on my first 2 mission trips overseas.
Yeah.
We were taking English gospel into Russian countries, Moldova specifically.
Yeah.
And that book, to watch the way it transformed the lives of these kids who maybe only ever ate potatoes and chicken in their entire life, who maybe only ever had hot water or cherry juice, they didn't have anything. Like most third world countries. I'm not singing the song of their sorrows, but to watch James just transform the hearts of these hardened people who for generations who've been cast off in these countries. The book of James it's all, the word of God is unquestioned. I get into this discussion a lot, but a lot of people will say, non-believers will grab one Bible verse and be like, haha, I found the one.
Yeah.
And I'm like, have you read the rest? Have you read any of the rest? Yeah. And they're like, no. And I'm like,
yeah.
It's like walking into a Calculus 2 class, finding one wrong answer in the book, or one questionable answer, and being like, I found it. This whole calculus thing is garbage. Throw it out, and being like, I'm sorry, but this is real stuff.
Right.
This is stuff backed by not only science but by faith, which trumps nice. When you have true faith in something and believe it in your heart, yeah, the Word of God is just the best. I feel it sounds like such a tune right now.
Dude, you're totally fine about it. Like, I can't emphasize enough how like people should live in open authenticity like that.
Yeah.
In all seriousness. But if you could give any advice to anybody in the audience that's listening right now, what would you want them? What advice would you want to give them, and what would you want them to know about yourself?
Advice: be humble, be kind, be forgiving, be loving. A lot of the advice that I like to give is really short and concise. You know, be something. Be like I just listed off some things, but it's just like these 3 words across your shirt there. Advice is not meant to be complicated.
Yeah.
What you're going through, someone has gone through. Seek help. Forgive yourself, forgive others. You know, simple things that in the world we live in today is all too often forgotten. As I've shared with you guys, I've deleted and ridded myself from social media aside from my business here because on a personal level, I found it bringing more damage into my life than good. Just little things like that. Evaluate yourself, reflect. Do not be afraid to look inside of yourself and figure out, where are my thorns? 2 Corinthians, as we talked about this morning, as we talked about on the beach the other day. Where am I falling short?
Yeah.
You know, even I sitting here today, I'm no better than anybody else.
Yeah.
I just decided to look inward, fix some of my issues, and share that. That's it. It's as simple as it gets. So do that. Do the uncomfortable stuff.
Yeah.
I always like to say, wake up early at least once a week. I'm not one of these Jocko Willink guys that's going to tell you 365 days for the rest of your life. Get up at 4 a.m. You know,
just
piss iron and jump off. Like,
unless you're going to bed at 7.
yeah, exactly. We've discussed this, but I go to bed at some nights at 11, 12, 1 a.m. Not by choice. I'm not sitting there wasting time. I don't get out of work until 11 o'clock.
Right.
Stand under white LED lights all day long, you know, on my feet for 14 hours. So if I go for a run when I get home, I'm not getting to bed until 12 in the morning. But at least once a week, I get up before the sun and I watch it rise.
Yeah.
One of my favorite things to do, because it's the one unquestioned thing that we're looking at a map here on the wall. Maybe we'll take a shot of it before the guys leave. But there's 7.5, 8 billion, whatever the number is of people in the world. The one common thing we have is not skin color, it's not culture, it's not religion, it's not creed, it's not language, it's not anything physical or anything. The one thing we get is a sunrise and a sunset. That's it.
True.
So when you're looking at that sunrise and you're watching that sunset, you are taking part in the greatest show on earth, which is not only are you, but 2 billion, 3 billion, on a great night, on an incredible sunset night, you and blank billion people are watching that exact same sun. I mean, there's nothing that stirs my heart more than that, than the Word of God, than Jesus Christ. And so I tie a lot of that sunrise, sunset into my relationship with Christ. At least once a week, I gotta watch that thing rise. I gotta watch that thing set. It's really a goal of mine. Don't do it all the time, but when I get to do it, I feel fulfilled. So that's that. Get out and do that more. Be in nature more. Seek to and you shall find. You know, set small goals for yourself and accomplish them. I forget the last part of your question. You said some advice and then.
What would you want the audience to know about yourself?
I weighed 12 pounds when I was born.
What?
I was a monster. I was a little over 12 pounds. I think about that often.
Good Lord.
Yeah, I know. The nurses took me around the baby ward.
Does your mom hold that against you?
Yeah, she does. She never had any kids after me. She was like, "That's it. I'm done. Say la vie." The nurses walked me around like a pumpkin in the hospital ward. Like, look at this
guys,
monster.
look at this thing.
Yeah, like, you know the baby pictures when you're little, and it's normally like half the chest and then your neck. Mine was just my head because
Did you like have the head you have right now?
Yeah, exactly. My brothers make fun of me my whole life. They're like, you grew into your head. My nickname growing up was always like noggin or dome or whatever. Like, I grew into it, and it's still gigantic. It's still just, the camera doesn't do it justice. I have a
We got
freakish
big head
large
families
dog.
here.
Yeah, you guys did it. But I was 12 pounds. That's a fun, small known fun fact that whenever I lay that on people, they're just
What is wrong with you? People thought I was impressive for being like 9 pounds, 8 ounces. That's ridiculous. How long were you?
I think I was a little over 26 inches, 24 and a half inches, somewhere in
Did
that
she
range.
have you like at the 12-month mark?
Yeah. I don't know, man. It was a freak set of circumstances, but, and I mean, well, all of our moms.
She's like, well, you better be the CEO of some ice cream shop.
Yeah, no, exactly. Our moms are always our biggest fans, our greatest supporters, no matter what goes on in our lives. And my mom said, and my dad, in that moment, they said, he's larger than life. Like, this is going to be a kid that, I don't know if they said, he's going to do good or great things, but, they said, he's going to be larger than life. And I feel like the rest of my life is a testimony to the fact that I was born 12 pounds. Wow. I came into this world as a big, whatever, and I hope to leave it that way. I hope to, at the end of my journeys, everything that has encompassed that same feeling that I came into the world with, here's this larger than life thing. I hope that's how I leave it, and what I really pray and hope for is that's leaving an impact of Jesus in this world. Yeah, so I know it's a little goofy and off the cuff, but I thought that'd be something that's awesome.
Yeah. That's awesome. Well, hey, so for the audience members, anybody who might visit Sanibel Island, where can we find you on social media? How can we find you? Go ahead and plug yourself.
At joeyscustard.sanibel, Facebook, Joey's Custard, website, joeyscustard.com. Like I said before, I don't have any personal accounts to follow or anything. On Facebook I do, so if you want to have me on there. But yeah, just follow the journey, and keep pushing yourselves. And my hope and my prayer for you is that whatever I said and whatever George asked today and whatever we got out there for you is content that can be something that hits a spot with you. And yeah, that's it. We're on 2467 Periwinkle Way, Sanibel, Florida. It's a neat little island if you've never been. Get yourselves down here. The family comes down once, twice a year. You can see the smile on his face right now. He loves Sanibel.
Yeah, dude. All right. Well, guys, that was Life on a Mission with Joey. Thank you all for listening. We'll see you later.
Love you guys.